Have you ever stopped in the middle of your routine, felt a gaze fixed on you and, turning around, met the eyes of your cat? Eyes that seem to hold ancient secrets, a silent wisdom that has accompanied us for millennia. In that moment of connection, an inevitable question hangs in the air, a question that everyone who has shared their life with a feline has asked themselves. What does your cat really see when it looks at you? No, I don't look here for a simple list of interesting facts or superficial anecdotes. What we offer is something much deeper. We won't give you a list of fun facts. We'll take you on a three-stage journey to decipher the feline mind and understand your exact place in its universe, a journey that will dismantle our human perceptions and immerse us in a completely different sensory reality. On this MeowTube video is a scientific and emotional expedition to understand how that creature resting at your feet builds you in its mind piece by piece, sense by sense. The final answer, we assure you, will forever change the way you see your pet. Welcome to MeowTube, the channel for cat lovers. Part 1. The world through his senses. To begin understanding what you are to your cat, we must first completely abandon our primary sense, sight, as we know it. We must relinquish the primacy of faces, sharp details, and the vibrant spectrum of colors with which we interpret the world. The first layer of your identity for your feline companion is not visual, but a complex multi-sensory construct. This is how they physically perceive you, the foundation upon which everything else will be built. Secret number 1, the blurred silhouette. Imagine for a moment that you are observing the world through a veil. The outlines of distant objects blur, and intense colors, especially the reds and oranges of a sunset, are muted, transforming into shades of gray or yellowish-brown. Welcome to feline vision. When your cat looks at you from across the room, it isn't seeing the person you see in the mirror. Its retina, an evolutionary masterpiece for hunting at twilight, is equipped very differently from ours. They possess what biologists call dichromatic vision. Their eyes are rich in rod photoreceptors, incredibly efficient at capturing even the smallest amount of light. But they have a much smaller number of cones, the cells responsible for color perception. In practice, this means that their chromatic world is composed primarily of blues, greens, yellows, and grays. Red is a color that simply doesn't exist in their visual spectrum, so that red t-shirt you love so much is nothing more than a grayish-brown stain to your cat. You are, at first glance, a figure of muted colors, a watercolor of cold tones moving in their environment. But the difference doesn't end there. Visual acuity, the ability to focus and see fine details at a distance, is another point of radical divergence. A human with perfect 20/20 vision can clearly distinguish an object 60 meters away. A cat would need to be only 6 meters from that same object to see it with similar clarity. Therefore, when it looks at you from the hallway, he can't see the details of your face, your welcoming smile, your worried frown, the expression in your eyes. All of that is lost in a soft mist. You are a general shape, a familiar silhouette whose identity is not confirmed by facial features, but by a set of other signs much more important to him. However, where their vision loses in detail and color, they gain spectacularly in another area, motion detection. Their eyes are highly precise motion sensors. Thanks to a high visual refresh rate, they can register and process changes in position with astonishing speed and efficiency. This, which allows them to track tiny, swift prey, applies directly to you. They don't see your face static, but they do perceive the slightest twitch of your hand before you're about to stroke them. They detect the subtle change in posture that precedes your rising from the sofa. They register the speed and fluidity of your gestures. For them, you are not a static, defined image, but a dynamic presence. You are a constant flow of movement. It's a dance of intentions that they read with a mastery that is inconceivable to us. Your visual identity is not in who you are, but in how you move. Secret number 2, beyond sight. If the vision presents you as a blurry, moving silhouette, it is the other senses that sculpt you with a definition and richness of detail unimaginable to us. If sight is the sketch, smell, hearing, and the perception of vibrations are what apply color, texture, and depth to your existence. Well, and let's begin with their most powerful sense, smell. A cat's olfactory epithelium is, proportionally, up to 40 times larger and more sensitive than a human's. But their arsenal doesn't end there. They possess an additional sensory organ, the vomeronasal or Jacobson's organ, located in the roof of the mouth, which allows them to taste odors by analyzing pheromones and complex chemical compounds. When your cat rubs against your legs or sniffs your face, it's not just a simple greeting. They're reading a detailed report about you. To your cat, you are a walking and recognizable smell map. Your olfactory signature is unique, a combination of your detergent, your perfume, the pheromones you emit, your sweat, the scent of other places you've visited, and, fundamentally, the scent of your home lingering on your skin and clothes. You are an olfactory beacon that informs him of your health, your mood. Stress produces chemical changes that they detect, and even where you've been. This map is much more reliable and detailed for him than the blurry image his eyes provide. This olfactory layer is overlaid with an equally crucial auditory dimension. The anatomy of their ears, with more than 30 muscles that allow them to rotate 180 degrees, functions like a high-precision parabolic antenna capable of locating the source of a sound with minimal error. Their hearing range is vastly superior to ours, extending to the ultrasonic frequencies emitted by rodents. When you speak to your cat, he doesn't understand the semantic meaning of your words. He doesn't process language like we do. However, he analyzes you like an expert musicologist. To him, you are a familiar soundtrack. It perfectly recognizes the timbre of your voice among all others. It analyzes the tone, cadence, rhythm, and frequency. A high-pitched, rapid voice can be associated with play or excitement, a low, slow tone with calm and security, a shout with imminent danger. And your voice is a melody that modulates the emotional atmosphere of its territory, a signal that throughout your time together it has learned to associate with specific consequences: food, affection, play, or the need to seek shelter. Finally, there is an even more subtle perception: vibration. Their paw pads are extremely sensitive to vibrations in the ground. Long before seeing or hearing you, your cat can sense you approaching. It recognizes the unique vibration of your steps, your weight, the rhythm of your walk, whether you move quickly or calmly. You are a familiar seismic pattern. This ability allows them to anticipate your arrival, preparing for the encounter. It is further confirmation of your identity that does not require direct eye contact, an announcement of your presence transmitted through the very structure of the home. Secret number 3, the map of the territory. Adding all these sensory layers together, we arrive at a fundamental conclusion. In your cat's mind, you are not a being separate from the home. You are a mobile and predictable pillar within its territory. Cats are deeply territorial and creatures of habit. Their well-being depends on a predictable environment that they can control and understand. In this mental map, you are neither an intruder nor a visitor. You are one of the most important and reliable features of that map. Think about your daily routines. The sound of your footsteps in the morning is the signal that triggers the anticipation of breakfast. The sound of your voice when you arrive home in the afternoon is the marker that indicates the end of a period of solitude and the beginning of social interaction. Your physical presence, whether sitting on your usual side of the sofa, working at your desk, or sleeping in bed, gives structure, security, and predictability to their mental map of the territory. You are a warm, mobile piece of furniture that dispenses food and affection. You are a constant point of reference. Your absence alters the geography of their world, and your return restores it. That's why many cats react with anxiety to changes in your routines. It's not just that they miss you, it's that one of the most important landmarks in their landscape has disappeared, generating uncertainty and stress. Thus, as we conclude this first stage of our journey, we begin to glimpse an astonishing truth. When your cat looks at you, it isn't processing a clear and defined image of an owner or a human being. Its brain is integrating a much richer and more complex torrent of sensory information. It's perceiving a dynamic silhouette of muted colors identified by movement. It's inhaling a unique chemical signature that tells the story of your day. It's hearing a familiar vocal melody that soothes or alerts. And it's feeling the predictable vibration of your presence through the floor. In summary, and as a basis for everything we will discover below, to your cat, you are not a person with a defined face, but a blurry, multi-sensory, predictable silhouette that is fundamental to the architecture of its world. You are the living sensory pillar that gives shape, sound, and smell to their reality. And upon this physical perception, as we will see in our next stage, they will begin to build an even more surprising social label. And have you been surprised by how your cat perceives you through senses so different from ours? Tell us below what was most unexpected for you and if you've ever noticed it in your daily life. Part 2. Social etiquette. What role do you play in its tribe? We've established the how. We've deconstructed your image, your sound, and your scent to understand the sensory silhouette you represent in your cat's universe. You are a fundamental physical presence in their territory, a highly recognizable and predictable constant. But this is only the first layer of reality. Upon this physical foundation, the feline brain, a complex network of social instincts and individual learning, must place a label. It must answer a much deeper question. Not how you are, but what you are. Are you a predator, a prey, a threat, or something else entirely? The answer to this question takes us away from sensory biology and into ethology, the study of animal behavior. Oh, and it is here that our human assumptions about hierarchy and dominance crumble. Prepare to discover that in the social structure of your home, your role is far stranger, more complex, and more fascinating than you could ever have imagined. Secret number 4. The big clumsy cat, an equal, not a superior. The first and perhaps most revolutionary theory, supported by renowned ethologists like Dr. John Bradshaw, is that your cat simply doesn't recognize you as a fundamentally different and superior species. Instead, it applies the rules of its own feline social language directly to you, essentially categorizing you as a fellow cat. In other words, to your cat, you are a big, hairless cat, and most likely a rather clumsy one. Observe your daily interactions closely. When your cat approaches you with its tail held high and vibrating, it's the same greeting it would give to a friendly cat in its colony. It's when it rubs its cheek and flank against your legs, a behavior known as allo-rubbing, it's depositing its pheromones on you. This isn't an act of submission. In the feline world, it's a gesture of affiliation, a way of creating a shared group scent that identifies trusted members. By marking you, it's not saying you're my owner, it's saying you're one of us. The gentle headbutt he sometimes gives you, known as bunting, is further irrefutable proof of this perception. And it's one of the most intimate displays of affection and trust among cats, reserved for those with whom they feel safest. There's no equivalent behavior in their repertoire for dealing with a dominant or hierarchically superior species. He treats you as he would any other cat with whom he shares a deep social bond. This theory also sheds new light on one of the most perplexing behaviors: gifts. When your cat places a mouse, an insect, or its favorite toy at your feet, our initial interpretation is that of an offering, but from the feline perspective, it's much more likely an act of care or teaching. It sees you as a member of its social group, but also recognizes your obvious and pathetic shortcomings as a hunter. It has never seen you hunt successfully. Therefore, its instinct may drive it to provide you with food, or in the case of live prey or toys, to try to teach you basic survival skills. It's not a tribute to a god, but rather an attempt by a colony mate to care for its kin, big clumsy cat who, somehow, seems unable to get his own food. Secret number 5, the eternal mother, the bond that is never broken. However, the label of giant tribe mate isn't the only one your cat assigns you. There's another role, one much deeper and more deeply rooted in its earliest moments of life, that you constantly fulfill, that of a maternal figure. The domestication process has fostered a phenomenon known as neoteny, which is the retention of juvenile traits into adulthood. Many of the behaviors we find adorable in our cats are, in reality, kitten behaviors they've learned to perpetuate in their relationship with us. The clearest example is meowing. Did you know that adult cats rarely meow at each other? Vocal communication between adult felines relies on a range of hisses, growls, and grunts. The sharp, demanding meow is primarily the tool kittens use to get their mother's attention, to ask for food, or warmth, or help. When your adult cat meows at you to open the door or fill its bowl, it isn't speaking to you in a human language. It's using a juvenile vocal tool that it has discovered to be incredibly effective at getting a response from its primary caregiver, you. In that context, it has placed you in the unequivocal role of the nurturing mother. Even more powerful is the act of kneading, that rhythmic movement of pushing their paws against your lap, a blanket, or the bed is a direct vestige of nursing behavior. Kittens need their mother's belly to stimulate milk flow. When an adult cat performs this action, it is experiencing a regression to a state of absolute comfort and security, directly associating you with the warmth and unconditional support of their first maternal figure. It is one of the purest expressions of well-being and trust, an indicator that, at that moment, they perceive you as their ultimate source of comfort and safety. This maternal instinct goes beyond simply providing food. Studies on feline behavior have shown that cats actively seek you out to regulate their own emotional security. When they are startled by a loud noise or feel insecure in a new environment, their first instinct is often to seek your proximity. Just as a puppy seeks its mother, you become their safe haven, an emotional anchor from which they can explore the world, knowing they have a refuge to return to. You don't just fill their food bowl, you fulfill their fundamental need for security. Secret number 6. The emotional mirror, your reflection in their actions. We've seen that your cat assigns you complex social roles based on its own language, that of tribe mate and maternal figure. But the interaction isn't static. There's a third layer, dynamic and constantly changing, that demonstrates the sophistication of its social perception. Your cat acts as a seismograph of your mood. It's reacting and adapting to the emotional signals you project. Although they don't understand the cause of your sadness or stress, they are masters at reading the accompanying signs, a change in the tone of your voice, tension in your posture, a disruption in your routines. Various studies have shown that cats can distinguish between a smiling human face and an angry one, and that they react differently to each. Nobs, the phenomenon known as emotional contagion, suggests that your mood can directly influence theirs. A stressful home, with anxious owners, often produces cats with stress-related behavioral problems. Therefore, your cat doesn't just categorize you, but also adapts its behavior according to the version of you that you present at any given moment. He might approach you and purr softly when he senses you're sad, a behavior that could be interpreted as an attempt at comfort. On once again applying feline social logic, purring can also be a self-soothing mechanism projected onto a member of his group. Or he might avoid you if he perceives your anger or frustration, recognizing the signs of a big cat that's best left alone for the time being. This adaptability demonstrates that you're not a monolithic figure in his mind, but an emotionally complex being whose energy directly modulates his own behavior and well-being. You are their equal and their caregiver, their roommate and their refuge. Understanding this complex social categorization is key to deciphering the true nature of your bond, and it is precisely that, the deep psychology of your connection, that we will explore in the final stage of our journey. Do you identify with any of these roles in your cat's mind? Are you their tribe mate, their mother figure, or both? Share your experience in the comments. We love hearing from you. Part 3. The deep connection, the nature of your bond. We've journeyed through our cat's senses to understand how they perceive us, a multisensory silhouette at the center of their territory. We've explored their social ethology to decipher what we are to them, a strange and fascinating duality between a giant tribal companion and an eternal maternal figure. Now we arrive at the heart of the mystery. We delve into the final and deepest layer of our research to answer the ultimate question. Why? Why is this bond so special? Into what psychological alchemy transforms perception and categorization into a genuine and personalized bond of affection? The answer lies not in the generic instincts of a species, but in the unique story you have built together. We are about to discover that the relationship with your cat is not a biological accident, but a work of emotional architecture, constructed day by day, gesture by gesture. Secret number 7. Beyond instinct, personalized attachment. For decades, our behavioral science underestimated the emotional depth of cats, often labeling them as merely transactional beings, motivated only by food and shelter. Today, thanks to the application of attachment theory, a psychological framework originally developed to describe the bond between human parents and children, we know that this view is profoundly flawed. The relationship your cat has with you is not generic. While it is a personalized attachment bond with styles and nuances that reflect the quality of your interaction. Pioneering research, such as that conducted at Oregon State University, has adapted the classic strange situation test to cats and their caregivers. The results are revealing. Around 65% of cats show a secure attachment. When their human is present, they explore confidently. When the human leaves, they show mild stress, and upon their return, they seek contact and then calm down. Because their caregiver is their secure base. However, other cats exhibit insecure attachment styles, anxious, ambivalent attachment, where the cat clings to its owner and remains stressed even upon their return, or the avoidant attachment, where the cat ignores its owner and feigns indifference to cope with stress. What determines this attachment style? It's not the cat's innate character, but the consistency of your actions. The predictability of your routines, the gentleness and consistency of your caresses, the calm and affectionate tone of your voice, all of these serve as the foundation upon which a secure attachment is built. Every time you respond to their meow predictably, every time you respect their need for space, every time you offer comfort instead of punishment, you are strengthening the building blocks of that trust. You are not simply a walking can opener, you are the architect of their emotional security. And if any doubt remains, science has come to debunk the myth that they're only with you out of self-interest. In preference studies, where cats were given a choice between 4 stimuli, food, toys, scents, and social interaction with a human, most cats chose social interaction over all other options, including food. It's not that they don't value food, but for many, the connection with you is the primary reward. They choose you. Secret number 8, the language of silence. This deep and personalized bond isn't always expressed through grand gestures, but rather through a subtle and silent language, a code of trust that can only exist between 2 beings who have built a secure attachment. There are 3 irrefutable signs of this bond that you likely observe daily. The first one is the slow blink. When your cat looks at you and slowly closes its eyes, then opens them again, it's not showing tiredness, it's sending you the feline equivalent of a kiss. Or in the animal world, closing your eyes in the presence of another is the ultimate act of vulnerability. It's a non-verbal signal that communicates absolute trust and affection. By returning the gesture, blinking slowly at it, you're using its own language to say, "I trust you too, I'm comfortable in your presence." It's a silent conversation that reaffirms your connection. The second proof is their sleep habits. A cat, as a small predator that is also prey, and is incredibly vulnerable while sleeping, choosing where to rest is a critical survival decision. That's why your cat choosing to sleep on you, next to you, or in the same room is one of the deepest expressions of trust it can offer you. By doing so, it's not just seeking your warmth, it's designating you as its protector, its guardian. In its mind, your presence is the safest shield against the dangers of the world. Entrusting you with its safety during its most defenseless state is the ultimate expression of seeing you as its anchor and its refuge. Finally, there is the constant monitoring. That behavior that sometimes seems curious or even a little insistent, following us from room to room, isn't just out of curiosity or because they want food. It's a manifestation of their need to maintain contact and social cohesion. You are their secure base, and by staying close, he's checking in with you, ensuring that the center of his social universe remains accessible and stable. It's bond maintenance behavior, a way of continually reinforcing that you are a social unit, a clan of 2. Secret number 9, the unbreakable bond, what it really means to you and him. And so at the end of our journey, all the pieces fall into place to reveal a complete and breathtaking picture. We have united the three fundamental pillars of feline perception. Let's recap. In the first stage, we discovered that your cat perceives you as a familiar sensory presence, a blurry, comforting silhouette defined by your movement, your scent, and your sound. In the second, we saw how, based on that, it assigns you a role high social, crucial, seeing you as a fellow tribe member and a maternal figure. And now in this third stage, we have understood how, on that physical and social foundation, he builds a unique and deep bond of attachment, one that is personalized, emotional, and based on absolute trust. This is the big revelation. The next time you feel that gaze fixed on you, understand the magnitude of what's happening. Your cat is integrating your sensory signature, recognizing you in your role as companion and protector, and feeling the security of the bond you've forged. You are not just their provider of food. You are not simply a roommate. You are their tribal companion, their eternal mother, their primary source of security, and their emotional anchor in a world that can be noisy and unpredictable. You are the guardian of their sleep, the receiver of their silent language of trust. You are, in essence, his family. The next time your cat looks at you, remember that it's not looking at a human, it's looking at the center of its universe. What's the most surprising thing you've learned today? Has it changed the way you see your feline companion? Tell us in the comments. And if you found this journey as fascinating as we did, subscribe and join us as we unravel the next great mystery of the animal kingdom. If this journey has fascinated you, join us to reveal the next great mystery of the feline kingdom.